Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Coffee and Devotions with Adam. I'm Adam. This is my coffee, and it's time for some devotions this morning. Some of you are struggling. Some of you are saying, this is Tuesday, and it's the worst week I've had. It's Tuesday, and man, I wish it were Sunday so I could be in my bed sleeping. Some of you are saying this is the worst month I've had. Some of you are saying this is the worst year I've had. And some of you are saying, dude, what are you talking about? This is the worst life ever. Alright? I want to tell you guys a story. Some years ago, there was a guy by the name of Frank Perkins. He lived in Los Angeles. And this guy made an attempt at the world flagpole sitting record. Yes, the world flagpole sitting record. He was on the pole, okay, and the guy caught the flu. So eventually his flu was so bad and so advanced that he was forced to come down just 8 hours short of the 400-day record. You heard me, 400-day record. So when he came down from 399 days, here's what he came down to discover. 1, his sponsor had gone bust. 2, his girlfriend had left him. 3, his phone was shut off. And 4, the guy had no electricity or place to live. So while most of us aren't experiencing troubles of this caliber, and I say most of us, all of us go through a difficult and trying circumstance at some point in our lives. Sometimes it can seem like the entire world has completely and totally turned its back on us. Other times, it can seem like God has completely forgotten us and walked away from our lives. So are you suffering today? Are you struggling? Has it been a rough time? Is your soul just downtrodden and downcast? Well, if so, let me suggest a little bit of things that have kind of been helpful to me in my life, some things that I've done, and things that I do even currently right now to help me through. What I want you to do is really quick, okay? I want you to think in your mind of the top 5 things that are making you feel that negative in your life. The things that are just like pressing you. I know it's kind of hard sometimes, but I want you to think in your mind of the top 5 things. Ready? Go! Now, I want you to pick up your Bible, and I want you to open to Psalm chapter 18, verses 1 to 6. And I want you to read it. Psalm 18, 1 to 6. Ready? Go! Okay, so if you missed it, here's David. He's a man after God's own heart, and he's got like his own list of troubles, okay? So if we read in chapter 18, verses 1 to 6, we see in verse 3 that he's threatened by enemies. In verse 4, we see that he's surrounded by like pangs of death and the floods of ungodliness. So in other words, this guy was totally disliked, he was completely discouraged, and he was a little bit suicidal. I call David my poster child for Ritalin and possibly Xanax. He was, kind of up and down like this all the time. But I love him because he was so real. He was so transparent too. So what hope could there be in this guy's situation? Maybe he could buy his way out. Maybe he could fight his way out. Maybe he could muster up some kind of serious self-talk. Or maybe he could converse with his closest companions. Would the help come in the form of money, maybe? Maybe his soldiers? Maybe some really powerful weapons? Or maybe some people would come to his aid? I don't think so. And neither did David. You see, he knew and was completely and totally resigned to the fact that his help would only come from an inexhaustible source, the Lord, whom David called my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. That's in verse 2. You see, the winds of trials were blowing so hard, and David was just barely hanging on. Yet, he placed his trust in God, and he uses 3 descriptions for God. 1, my rock, that immovable, solid, secure rock. 2, my fortress, that safe, impenetrable, protected place of solitude. And my deliverer, our rescuer, my freedom, my escape. So let Psalm chapter 18 remind us that when our problems are pitted against the Lord's strength, there's no contest. Troubles may be cutting up your life into pieces like paper. But I want you guys to remember that rock always beats scissors. Blessings on you guys. Be encouraged today and find your strength in the Lord. Cheers.